So we are investigating this parameterized family of functions that has the form f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And Desmos will ask me if I want to have a slider, and I will say yes, I want all of these to be sliders. So I will click the all button, and now that produces A, B, and C, which are sliders that I can drag around. So the questions is visually, the first question is, what is f of 0? And we're trying to determine if we can determine that in terms of any of the three parameters. It could depend on A, it could depend on B, it could depend on C, it could depend on some combination. So right now, if I look at 0, f of 0, I see that f of 0 is equal to 1. As I drag A, I'm kind of doing an experiment here and say, well, if I drag A around and I see that this one value isn't changing, f of 0 doesn't depend on A, and then I drag B around and I say, well, that didn't, let's see, does that change anything? It changes something, but it does not change the f of 0 value. No matter what I do with this b value, the curve still passes through 0, 1. So when I do that experiment, I say f of 0 also doesn't depend on b. But then I look and say, well, what happens if I drag c? That this is moving up. And in fact, if I look at what the c value is, the c value matches the y value of the y-intercept. So it looks like f of 0 is equal to c, because as I drag c, f of 0 moves with it and takes the same value as c. Like right here, c is equal to 2, and my curve passes through the point 0, 2. And we ask, what is p of 0? That will be a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c. And this becomes 0, this becomes 0, so p of 0 is equal to c. Now I can also look for asking about f prime of 0. So what is f prime of 0? And as I move A, it looks like the slope isn't changing. If I fix my tangent line right here, as I move A around, I still have the same slope. Other properties change, but the slope at 0 is not changed by A at all. What about B? Yes. So my purple here is when B is equal to 1.2. But then if I slide B forward to a different value, or if I slide it backward to a negative value, I get a very different tangent line. So this is my tangent line in green, roughly, when B is equal to negative 2.8. When I drag C, it's kind of hard to see here, but the slope is staying the same. It's just that the value of the y value is changing, but the slope is staying the same, because like right here, I have this tangent line, and that's parallel if I draw it right. So f prime of 0, as I do this experiment, looks like it depends on B, but not on A or C. P prime of 0, well, P prime of x, y'all correctly told me, is 2ax plus b. So P prime of 0 is 2a times 0 plus b. So it turns out that P prime of 0 is just b. That explains why the slope was controlled by the b. Because when we plug in the derivative we plug in 0 to the derivative, we get the slope of the tangent line at 0, and we saw that was influenced by b.